Okay, hello out there. This is Samata. Just going to summarize what I'm doing here and then show you a little bit. So I just purchased a Fuji 32, and it was one of those deals that I basically couldn't pass up. Right now I'm also restoring a Westdale 32, and the Westdale 32 is showing me that's going to be kind of a longer project than I initially anticipated, probably longer by a few years. So what I've done here, I initially purchased a Pearson 22 to kind of rip around the sound and get out to the islands and stuff like that. But upon taking some passengers on that on one of the weekends, and also kind of having my eye on this boat for a while, I ended up purchasing this Fuji 32. And it ended up being just a deal that I couldn't refuse. I'm not necessarily sure. Actually, this is one of the first boats I really was looking at when I was looking to buy my first boat. It was out of price range, couldn't even come close to affording it at the time. And this boat came to me relatively recently after I saw it kind of dilapidated on the dock up here in Blaine for a couple years. And I was just thinking like, oh, I wonder if I could find the owner and then make an offer on the boat. Turns out there was a for sale site that went on it, and they were initially asking kind of the going rate for the Fuji 32s, which is out of my price range, or definitely out of what I would want to pay for this boat anyways. But low price was lowered, and I contacted the owner again, and then after some assessment of the boat and kind of just really assessing what kind of work I needed to do on it. Because even at the asking price, I could probably do a little work. And if I wanted to flip it, it's not my intentions, by the way, but if I wanted to flip it, I could. This is how I'm finding out whether or not I'm getting a good deal or not, is the potential to resell. Anyways, we ended up kind of getting to know each other a little bit. And I basically said like, hey, she's like, oh, we'll make an offer on the boat. I'm like, well, I'm a little bit, I feel like I'm going to offend you if by the offer I'm going to make you. And then she ended up coming back like, hey, just take it for this, and then just, put the rest of the money into restoring the boat. I want to see the boat get restored and used. And, it had been neglected for 4 years, and she was just a really solid sailor who just really cared for her boat, and was, bummed that she was seeing it, kind of turn into a project boat, as she was, not able to attend to it. So here I am to the rescue, I hope. And I've kind of like making Soren, my Westdale 32 is going to be kind of the major big offshore project, right? The Westdale 32s are basically tanks. The Fuji 32, I don't really know a ton about. I just know that I like the design, and there's a lot of aspects of it I like. I like it's a bit smaller than the Westdale 32 for sure. But I do like the layout and all of that. So anyways, let me show you what I need to do on the boat. And then I'll just kind of from now on just be posting kind of updates and whatnot on the Fuji. So here's the interior. The interior is pretty roughed up because I have pulled everything apart. And whenever you go into a boat, you look at the wood and shiny parts and it looks like pretty nice. But once you dig behind the settees and into the bilge, you find a lot of other stuff. And that's what I did before I purchased her, and then also am doing now. So kind of there's not really any surprises going on. And mostly what we're dealing with is mold issues, some pretty gnarly mold. So I'm just getting down, getting my mask on and scrubbing. But anyway, here's the boat. Here's the galley up here. Again, it's a little bit torn apart just because I have to get everything up and get back into the storage areas in the back. Engine's below here. I'll show you that kind of when we get there. Little chart table to starboard quarter here. And then another kind of settee and berth. See all the mold back there, right? That's what I'm doing now. That's above insulation. So there's been insulation put in, and it's looking like I'm going to end up having to rip that out and replace it, but not too big a deal. Time and energy, but that's okay. The sole is a little bit worse for the wear, but that'll be able to be sanded back and redone. Everything structurally in here, like some of the major stuff, is actually in really good condition. Compression post looks really good, although I haven't looked below the sole yet to see how it's sitting, but there's no issues with the mast step or anything like that. And these decks are solid fiberglass, which is a lot different than the Westdale 32, which is a basically marine plywood sandwich into 1/4-inch fiberglass on each side. So you do get some sagging. I've had already issues with that particular boat, but these ones are straight fiberglass. And here's, let me see if I can find it real quick, but there's kind of a cool little piece of it right here that they did a through hole in the deck. And man, that's just straight, geez, that's like a, you know, borderline 3/4-inch glass there. So when you walk on the decks, the cool thing is it feels super solid, actually more solid than the West Sail does. So one of the things about the boats that have, especially that have narrow beams, they can feel a bit more solid, because if you expand the, you know, surface area and the widths of things, even if you have thicker glass, it's weaker over that span, or flexes more anyways. Maybe not necessarily weaker, but that weakness depends on how it's supported and all that. Anyway, let's move forward. I just want to show you what I'm actually working on now. Got in here with some scrubbing and moving forward in the chain locker too. Just right now doing a scrub down with some Citrusolve. I'm just doing Citrusolve in a 5-gallon bucket and just using a scrub brush. And what I'm having to do here is pull out the planking here in the V-berth. And once you see like black mold and stuff down there, if this hasn't been really well insulated, that planking just has to come off. So I'm on a goal to get this boat ready in the next week, at least to just do a basic sail. So I need to pull this planking off and kind of do, maybe probably screw it back in. But what I'm going to want to do is with these furring strips here, if I can access them, I'll probably want to tab them in, maybe even lengthen them down to the hull, because that just will add a little rigidity to the structure of the boat. But I'm not sure if I'll get to that now, and especially before this trip. I'll probably end up screwing in these planks with screws, because they're just finishing nails. And then, yeah, and then pull them back out and then do insulation, do a good job with the insulation and whatnot. So I got these markers here. I went back to the other boats. Luckily, Soren is just a couple boats down. And now I'm going to go through and just mark. So this is the port side here. So I'm going to go port 1. I'm just going to go P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. And because of that slat is so small, it'll be pretty clear that that's the basically the bottom one that I'm starting with and going up. So if they were all the same size, I'd have to put like P1 bot, B-O-T-T, like I did in the Soren. But in this one, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to reuse the slats because they have mold and stuff on them. I'm going to see what I can do. I got to, you know, pull the nails and everything out. But it's good for now. If not, I'm going to replace them with just kind of a thin cedar or something like that. Anyways, that's all for now. Just the cleaning job right now. So again, just getting the scrub brush out and using Citrusolve. What I'm doing here is in a bucket. I have one bucket with Citrusolve in it. And then I've got another bucket with basically Dr. Bronner's like heavy duty degreaser stuff. So I'm just going to scrub with the brush, and then I'm going to dip it into this one to kind of clean it off. And then I'm going to dip it into that one to get the Citrusolve for all the mildew and stuff. Okay, that's the update. Bye for now. Take care.